Fred Barston with 401k TV, and we're here with Louis Librandi. Welcome, Louis.
Thank you, Fred.
Louis is a partner in the PKF O'Connor Davies. It's a regional accounting firm focused on full benefit, employee benefits, tax issues, and ERISA audits. Right. Our favorite. New York regional office. Welcome. And today, based on your background, you used to work for the Internal Revenue Service.
Correct.
So you have a little bit of an insight into regulators and examiners. We know with the DOL, sometimes initiatives can start regionally and then go nationally, like the one with looking for missing participants in defined benefit plans.
Correct.
So one of the ones that we're starting to hear about is, the DOL looking the difference between a settler function, administrative function. Can you tell us what are the differences and give us a couple of examples?
Sure. So expenses that are paid with plan assets are reviewed on DOL examinations as well as audits when accounting firms are providing that service to clients' plans. When the DOL is coming in to look at that particular issue, they're trying to identify what the expense was for and who would benefit from that service and why should that expense either be paid by the plan or paid for by the plan sponsor. So again, who would be benefiting from the service that was provided.
And why are they so keen at trying to distinguish between those?
So if the employer was the one who was benefiting from that particular service, if I could give you an example, if the employer went to an actuary and requested several different iterations of a contribution formula because maybe the employer's either has hard times and he has to cut the formula or change the formula or evaluate even increasing a formula, that would be more to the benefit of the plan sponsor employer than it would be to the participants. The payment of routine annual administrative expenses, whether it's record keeping, audits, potentially using your attorney or another service provider to benefit the plan, which benefits the participants and keep it in compliance, are administrative functions which are permitted to be paid with plan assets.
Right. So what happens if a plan sponsor is paying settler functions that benefit them out of plan assets? What are the repercussions?
So I actually have experienced this on DOL audits where the plan needs to be made whole by the employer. So if there was an invoice that was paid incorrectly with plan assets, so the assets were removed from the plan to pay the expense, the employer now has to repay that principal amount, and then there would be also an earnings adjustment.
Right.
It's further of a fiduciary breach where there are another penalty under another code section of ERISA 502L, which sometimes, but frequently, if the employer is acting in a good faith compliance manner, is waived by the Department of Labor.
So not to put you on the spot, but there's a lot of changes going on with plan design, auto enrollment, auto escalation, and a lot of the default option, things like that. Is that a settler function or is that administrative function?
So I would always like to say, it's based on the facts and circumstances of that particular employer's situation. If we could truly say that the changes and the cost associated with that was to enhance the plan, I would say then it could be a permitted plan expense. If it was truly because, again, if there was some other factors involved with the employer and, I don't want to say bankruptcy, but if sales weren't going in accordance with budgets and et cetera, and they were looking to cut back, but they needed to know some other types of ramifications of that, that may be more of a settler function that the DOL would look at differently.
So the smell test is, what is this? Who is this expense benefiting the most, the plan sponsor or the participant? And if it is the participant, it can be paid out of plan assets. If not, better to write a check.
Correct. One other caveat with that would be the plan document needs to identify the expenses, not necessarily specifically, but has to have a language to say that plan assets can be used for certain functions, like administrative functions, without necessarily identifying each type of administrative functions that they could pay expenses for, but wording to that effect has to be in the plan document.
Very good. Thanks for your time, Louis, and your insights. We appreciate it. And thank you for watching 401k TV.